I would bet that George R. R. Martin has read this book.
It's
you guys keep talking.
Game of Thrones was 81.
Let's just
this is 87.
Oh, I keep forgetting how old those books are.
Yeah,
they're super.
it's because he's 1,000.
Yeah, I have known that the books were super old and it took a long time for them to get adapted and be popular, but I always forget that.
Yeah, and there's a very strong gap of time between all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's one of those things, like, people are so pissed off that he's, I don't know if he's actually said these, like, I'm not going to write any more of the Song of Ice and Fire books or whatever like that. But to be fair, he's now got more money than he'll ever need for the rest of his however the fuck long he's going to be alive.
J.K. Rowling is known as being like one of the best authors ever, but she really has written like 9 books.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I don't have to write anymore.
Yeah, no.
I don't have to work. Would you work if you had to? If you didn't have to?
He's also like 80 years old. I mean,
he's an old man.
At this point, like, if somebody took my work and made me bukus of money for it, I'm just like, thank you, buddy. I'll be on my boat. See you.
I'm not going to work anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to write shit.
Are we complaining about George R. R. Martin not finishing a series?
I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying that I just don't give a fuck. And when people bring up the concept of, he has to finish the series, he has to finish the book, he's like, no, he fucking doesn't.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to do shit anymore.
I kind of feel it's shitty to do to your fans.
Yeah.
I think it's actually kind of a shitty thing to pull, to just go, I've made my buck, you guys can just not have it.
Here's my thing. I think if you are an author who has a series that people really enjoyed, your priority should have been to finish the fucking series in the first place.
Yeah.
And he did not do that.
He wrote...
he's written...
like dozens of side books.
Oh, like a bunch of books
and
that he could have used.
I get wanting to write other stuff. I really understand that. But I think I think that fans have... Sometimes they go a little... I do agree, fans go overboard. But at the same time, I think it's just kind of shitty to go... made my book from you guys.
Oh, I'm not arguing that. Like, I'm telling you, I understand his perspective, but I'm also saying I understand his perspective because I really don't think he actually gives a shit about his fans.
I know he doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean...
It's why I've stopped giving him money.
Yeah.
I don't buy Game of Thrones or anything with his name on it anymore for this reason.
Yeah, I made somebody upset whenever I talked about this because I'm just like, you can complain about it all you want, so I understand you're upset about it, but, like, be mad at him.
Yeah.
I mean, I also can tell you that if I was in his position and I was him and I didn't give a shit about my fans, guess what? I'm not writing any more books. I made more money.
You have 2 options. Work, not work. You have enough money that you don't have to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Artists are not obligated to create art.
Yep.
But this is also coming from somebody who's never read a single Game of Thrones book or never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. I could have a very different tone if I was...
I think the worst part is people tell you to just watch the show, and I'm like, I can't, because there's characters that become important in the books that don't exist in the show.
Yeah.
Characters physically end up in different places in the show that they're not in the books. So the story can't possibly end the same way.
Same thing happens with Walking Dead.
Yeah, so I'm like, anyway, I've ranted about Game of Thrones enough.
That's okay. I also had a rant, so I think we both win.